Guys, we get to Baltimore now, a full 7 against Cincinnati with a total at 42. It had been sitting at 6.5 because we're still trying to figure out Lamar Jackson and whether he comes back with that knee or not. He will not have played since December 4th. So Brady, quarterback-wise, what thoughts do you have? Let's just assume or even maybe be hopeful that Lamar can play.
If he does come back, if it is indeed a PCL injury to his knee, it's something that I tore in my bowl game, my last game of my college career. It's not going to feel right. I can promise you that. I mean, it didn't feel right for me probably for about 12, 14 weeks. And at that point in time, you're looking at yourself saying, is it just going to feel like this the rest of my career? Because it just feels a little more loose. You can do the best you can rehabbing it. No one surgically is going to reattach your PCL. So it just is what it is. He's a dynamic runner. And that's where it's going to impact his game. Can he play well enough from the pocket? It's hard to think that he's going to be able to go, from not playing for 6 weeks, jump into that sort of intensity in a playoff game and be the same type of player. So I'm laying the points here, the Cincinnati Bengals. I know these teams split earlier this season, but if you go back to that Week 5 game, Burrow and the offense were still kind of putting it all together, and obviously Lamar was a part of that. The most recent victory, Lamar wasn't a part of that game, and you see the difference too in the Baltimore Ravens offense. The Bengals defense has improved enough, though, I think even if Lamar plays in this game, it's not going to be the same. I think they can shut down the Ravens' rushing attack.
Lamar wants the Deshaun Watson guaranteed contract. That's what I've heard. He wants that guaranteed contract, and the team is reluctant to give it to him. They made a great offer to him, more than anybody but that guaranteed contract. And he said no. Well, the best way to prove your value is if you do play in this game and you can't run the way you normally run, then stand in that pocket and make throws.
Yep.
If he goes back there and he can't run and he still puts up a big number, then all of a sudden the Baltimore Ravens look at him and they say, oh my gosh, we had doubts about him doing this because he's made plays in the pocket, but it's much easier to make plays in the pocket when you have the threat of the ability to get outside and run the football. So I think if he plays, it's a big opportunity for him. Having said all that, even if he plays, I think the Bengals are on a roll. They have an 8-game winning streak. I mean, they are rolling into the postseason, and I think that offense is going to be tough to stop. I'll take the Bengals minus the points.
If this is about the contract, because I know that's been floated out there, and maybe that's playing a factor in his mind of whether or not he wants to tough it out and try to play or not. It can't feel good when you watch another player sign a $100 million deal in Roquan Smith. You're happy for him, but he also negotiated his own deal, at least reportedly. And what is it, $45 million, whatever it is, guaranteed average annual value of $20 million per year. When you get leapfrogged by an off-the-ball inside backer, and granted, you knew eventually they were going to have to pay him too, it's got to be frustrating. And I wonder how that's factoring into his mindset with whether he plays or not because of the contract situation.
I think they did that so they can protect themselves to franchise tag him if they have to. That's why they did that with Roquan Smith. You give assets up for Roquan Smith, you have to find a way to keep him. If you can't get the deal done with Lamar Jackson, you get the deal done with him, and then you can tag Lamar Jackson. I think that's why they did that. But again, you're right. If you're in the back of your head, that's got to be there. And you could also be sitting there saying, hey, we traded to go get Roquan Smith and spend a boatload of money for him. How about getting me some help on the outside? I mean, there's a lot of things at play here. I think he'll find a way to play. I don't think there's any doubt about the competitiveness of him. So I think he's going to try and play. It's just, like you said, if that knee is loose and he can't run around, then why risk it?
The only thing I'd say to counter that, though, is the franchise tag for an off-the-ball inside backer would be much cheaper than what it's going to cost them for Lamar Jackson. Remember, that one-year franchise tag, especially the exclusive franchise tag, is going to hit your salary cap in a big way. So you're not going to have quite as much.
You can get the deal done with Roquan. You can't get the deal done.
Well, you don't know that yet. The season's not over. You haven't come to that point where you have to make that decision. Usually deadlines do deals, and this is one where I feel like maybe the deadline's already there for them.
Right, and they're protecting themselves.
So, maybe.
We got to wrap this up, but I just need a yes or no before we go to break. If Lamar Jackson cannot play, this number's going to get to 7.5 or 8. Do you still like Cincinnati, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Both like Cincinnati, even if that number gets to 7.5 or 8.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.